Greetings, everyone. I'm so excited today to be kicking off our CCO at Home interview series with our fabulous music director, Eckart Preu. All of you have just come to love him as we have as an orchestra, and I'm so thrilled to just get to sit with him and ask him a couple of questions about how he is doing during these crazy quarantine days. So, Eckart, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today.
Sure. It's funny to converse like this for a change.
Yeah, right? Although for a change now seems like our new reality as we all sit in front of our computers and have all of these Zoom meetings, right?
That is very, very true. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so Eckart, where are you at your home in Washington right now? Where are you in the world?
Yes, I am in Spokane, Washington, and we are all in isolation, of course.
Yes.
And it's a nice place to be. There's a lot of nature around. We're allowed outside,
That's
so
good.
that is super important.
Yeah. And you're home with your daughters, I know, and you're figuring out this new homeschool dad life challenge. What does this look like right now for you?
Well, we're always trying to find a balance in life, and I don't know what that is.
I don't think there's
It's
any
not
such
necessarily
thing.
50-50. I think it's a misconception. It's not necessarily 50-50. I think it used to be like 60% work, 40% family, and now it's a little bit the other way around. I try to still have enough time for work,
Yeah.
even though there's not really much there, because we don't make music.
Yeah.
But I find it extremely, actually, it is a blessing in many ways in disguise to actually have all this additional time with your kids.
Yeah.
Normally you would not
Totally.
have this. Now you have it. And so I think you can actually forge a much closer bond with the kids, or the opposite. It depends.
It's true. How old are your daughters again?
My oldest one actually has her 12th birthday this week, and my younger one is 8.5.
That's awesome. They're great ages, I'm sure. It's got to be fun to be home. So what does work look like right now? Now that you're, not out on the road and conducting your various orchestras, what does your work life look like?
Like this, pretty much.
Yeah,
So, a lot of a conductor's work actually takes place in front of a computer,
of course.
because there's just so much more than just conducting and studying scores. But nowadays, since we are in a digital world with a non-digital medium, there's only so much we can do online
Yeah,
in terms of music making, and
right.
a lot of orchestras are trying to connect with their audiences via the internet, and that has obviously its limitations. So
Right.
what we're doing is really planning for the future, and just trying to stay positive and relevant.
That's true. So how do you envision the future? I mean, there's so much uncertainty right now, of course, as to when we're going to be finished with this, what we will look like as we emerge. What are your thoughts about the future of the orchestras that you conduct and maybe just orchestras in general?
Right. The uncertainty, the main uncertainty is when.
Yeah.
And then once you have the when, then you can say how.
Yeah.
And so I think that a lot of orchestras, all of my orchestras in Long Beach, California, but also in Portland, Maine, and Cincinnati as well, planning for different scenarios. When is it? Is it in the fall? Is it next year? Is it at the end of next year? Whenever that will be, nobody knows. And then what would that look like?
Mhm.
Is there a staggered approach, kind of a socially distant approach at the beginning, instead of just packing the hall full of people again? Will people stay away? Or maybe the opposite, will they actually flock to the concert hall because they realize now how important live music actually is and how important the social aspect of a concert is. We always think it's live music, it sounds great, but I think the social aspect is such an important part. And so I think what we're doing also in Cincinnati is really different scenarios. What would that look like? What would
Right.
programming look like? And how do we bridge the time between now and then? How
Right.
can we stay relevant? What kind of online content is relevant?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I know we were all really disappointed as an orchestra, and I'm so sorry. This is one of the problems with recording at home is furry children and small children as well. So I apologize. Hopefully, she will calm down here in a second. We were all just really disappointed that Summer Music 2020 got canceled, and so I'm wondering. I'm sure you're thinking ahead to 2021 and what that could look like, and we're so hopeful that it's going to be the best thing that we've ever had, right? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts as we're kind of navigating this next year and a half towards Summer Music 2021? Do you have ideas about guest artists? Will they be the same as this year? Will it be a mixture? What's that going to look like? You don't have to give us any specific details, I suppose.
Yeah. That is a really interesting question, because I mean, theoretically we could just postpone this season to next season,
Right.
depending on availability. But I mean, so much thought and an effort has been put into making it happen. All the collaborations are set up,
Yep.
all these different locations are set up, and that is what is different for us in comparison to other orchestras. They always play in the same hall, but there's so many moving pieces here in terms of
Yeah.
collaborations um, and so I think the majority might stay the same, but maybe we start smaller.
Yeah.
This is all so uncertain. I think we're just going to plan for different scenarios. I love these programs that we had planned for this summer, and
Yeah.
so I'm very attached to them. And so we'll see how many of those we can actually transfer to 2021.
It makes sense, but I would also imagine that as a music director, you're paying attention to what's happening in our world and how can we respond relevantly, and what music would you program, and that probably would take on a different iteration and would evolve, based on the times. Hello. So it'll be interesting to see, what changes and what stays the same. And maybe you can give us an update next year based on how
Yeah.
you've kind of processed how we've changed as a world and what music really would feel relevant to 2021. So it's kind of fun to think about.
And I think as an organization, we're always trying to react to the times as well.
Exactly. Yep.
And since we're a fairly small organization, we're so nimble.
Yep.
And we can react much faster than large organizations. And so we'll see what the situation is like, half a year from now, when we actually have to really make very, very concrete plans.
Exactly. That's cool. So speaking of music and this very bizarre time of kind of complexity that we're experiencing as a world, is there any particular music that you're inspired by right now, or you're finding meaning in? What are you listening to? What is that like for you right now?
Yeah, at first, my evolution, there's an evolution, is at first
Totally.
I thought, okay, this is the perfect time of kind of doing musical cleanse, which
Yeah.
means no music at
Totally.
all.
Totally.
Out the brain, because we know we always stuff things in our brains, and we just do concert after concert after concert.
Right.
And after a while, you kind of need to kind of get rid of this compost and start new. And but that got old really, really fast.
Yeah.
And so I've discovered or rediscovered for me a love of my teenage years, and that is Anton Bruckner.
Nice.
And so my plan is to use this time to really study and go through all the Bruckner symphonies,
Yeah.
each of which is at least an hour long. So it is quite a lengthy project,
Yeah.
but it's something that is very meaningful to me, because it's this, it's a struggle. It's a very human struggle with nature, with God, with destiny.
Absolutely.
How do you force your way through? It's kind of, for me, it's actually Bruckner, not necessarily stylistically, but intellectually and emotionally, it's
Spiritually.
it's all
Yeah.
up to behold.
Absolutely.
I think it relates very well to this time, kind of the struggle and the final victory, hopefully.
It makes sense. Gosh, that's neat. Thanks for sharing that. It totally makes sense. So,
And nice trumpet parts as well.
but similar rhythms, bum, 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 over and
Yeah.
over.
No. I mean, these. It's really interesting how the similarities between the symphonies, which are very
Yeah,
often emphasized, but that each is very, very different too. I
absolutely.
mean, it is highly interesting, I find. Because his evolution is not from here to here. It is very narrow. He started on a
Yeah.
very high level. And then it's just, I don't know. It's for me, it's fascinating music.
That's neat. It's always a fun question because I think a lot of professional musicians have gone through this similar evolution where we were kind of like, okay, this just all got taken away and I don't really want to listen to anything and nothing is really speaking to me right now. And then gradually as the weeks have passed, things have started to kind of emerge to the surface for each of us.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. I think finally what I'd like to ask is, as we're thinking back to the Cincinnati Chamber Orchestra and what initially maybe attracted you to the organization and maybe one of your most fond or funny memories that you have as music director so far, what comes to mind for you?
What attracted me originally, also, I remember my audition week.
Yeah.
4 years ago? I don't know.
Yeah.
4 years ago, I think. Very, very, very clearly, because I just had a really, really good time. It's music and rehearsals are a high pressure environment because you have very little time to accomplish a lot, and then you have to deliver a high quality product in an engaging and fun and entertaining way. And so what was important to me is not only the dedication, the passion, the ability of the musicians, but also the attitude, the kind of
Right.
the good mood, that comes with an ensemble. And I like that. And but I have to say that my most fun memories, that is maybe because I'm a conductor, is not necessarily when I conduct. It is actually when I get to play with the musicians, because I never do. And so when I play the piano and I'm part of a group, I'm not in front of a group directing a group, so I'm not the puppet master per se, but I'm a puppet myself, and then the feeling of belonging to a social group that makes stuff happen together, and it's more like a give and take. I really like that.
Yeah.
A lot, and some of my fondest memories and the fun part, some of the most fun I've ever had is playing with the musicians.
That's awesome. Which two concerts pop into your mind right away as like, oh, that one was so fun and special. Do you
Oh,
have one, or is it just a broad?
So I forget very, very easily.
You do.
Oddly
It's
enough,
okay.
when I think of Cincinnati, no, it's the opposite. When I think of Cincinnati, I remember too much. So I
That's
cannot
cool.
really narrow that. So I remember our last Mozart concert.
Yeah.
I remember the concert with the Silver Garber piano duo. I remember the Da Vinci concert with Zivkovic, percussionist.
Totally.
And so there's so many, and of course Pepe Romero. I mean, I remember everything, which is really strange to me. And it's like they're all kind of, it's like having children. All my children, and love them all equally.
But it makes sense, it's sort of like that summer music festival experience. We do it all in 1 month, and the memories almost feel heightened because of that. Maybe I wonder if that's part of what that is. But
it is a very intense
yeah,
atmosphere, and emotionally, because you have to switch so fast. It's always the same people, so you go from left to right, it's like a whitewater rafting in many ways. You have a very short period of time, but there's a lot happening.
absolutely.
And so that's kind of how I see it.
Yes. Well, we are so sad that we won't get to be all together this August, and we are looking ahead with so much excitement to 2021 and what will be, which we know will be. So thank you so much, Eckart, for taking the time to just share with me and with our Cincinnati Chamber Orchestra community a little bit of what you're going through right now in these quarantine days. It's been really fun to talk to you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.